Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about a lot of topics. It's going to be a very high volume day, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on just one topic. We are going to go through a bunch of different topics, and so we are first going to talk about Lautaro Martinez. So according to Mundo Deportivo, the deal isn't closed, but Lautaro Martinez has already told Inter that he has to leave this summer. He will only leave for Barcelona. In Barcelona, they neither deny nor confirm about an agreement with the player. Negotiations continue. Now, here it states that Martinez must inform Inter Milan that the only way he would leave Inter Milan would be to only leave for FC Barcelona. Now, I don't want you guys to put that into the same category on Martinez telling Inter Milan that he wants to leave the club right now and in this summer. Those are two completely different things. If Martinez were to ask Inter Milan, hey, I want to leave this summer, I want to leave right now, that would be completely different compared to Martinez just telling Inter Milan, hey, if I'm going to leave Inter Milan, I'm only going to leave for Barcelona. Again, those are two very different things, and I think that that's why it's taking such a long time for Martinez to come to FC Barcelona, or why it's taking a long time for Inter Milan and Barcelona to find an agreement. I think that the key is for Martinez to tell Inter Milan that he wants to leave this summer and he wants to leave to Barcelona. That is the key. That is the only way for Inter Milan to really be like, okay, this Martinez to Barcelona operation is very serious. We need to start listening to what Barcelona has to offer. And this is a very, very similar situation to what Barcelona had to go through with Neymar Jr. back in the summer of 2019. Neymar had to publicly state that he does not want to be with PSG anymore and he wants to go to Barcelona. Now, this report has also stated that Inter Milan are also looking for a replacement, because right now, if we really look at where Inter Milan is at, they just sold Icardi to PSG for like around 50 million euros, and then they have another attacker named Alexis Sanchez, a player that we used to have, and he's not performing at his best at Inter Milan. And now with Inter Milan hearing that Martinez might leave this club, Inter Milan are going to find themselves in a very distressed situation. And if Inter Milan fails to bring a replacement, and that's only if Martinez does go to Barcelona, right? If Inter Milan does fail to bring a replacement, that's going to put a great disservice to their coach, which is Conte, because if Conte is there at Inter Milan and he has no players to work with, why is he even there? He's a great coach, but he needs the right players. And if Inter Milan let go of Lautaro Martinez, Inter Milan will need to find a player that can bring something equal to what Martinez currently brings to the table. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting. So it says here, according to Fabrizio Romano, he said, after Inter Milan sporting director Ausilio words regarding Lautaro Martinez, Barca doesn't show any intentions of going back. Barcelona is pressing and there is no agreement yet. Barcelona knows that Lautaro needs to publicly express his intentions to go to Barcelona. So let's break this statement here little by little. Let's first start with the first sentence. It says here, Barcelona doesn't show any intentions of going back. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Barcelona are currently not interested anymore? Does Barcelona still want to pursue Lautaro Martinez? Did Barcelona give up on this player? And again, the way the media likes to reword these things, they make you want to think another thing, but it's actually this. And so what this basically means is that Barcelona right now have not made a noise ever since the sporting director made that statement to the public. And the reason why Barcelona have not made a single action or move ever since that day when he did say something is because right now Barcelona is repackaging a deal in order to offer to Inter Milan. So that is the only reason why we haven't heard about anything between Barcelona and Inter Milan. Right now in this time frame, Barcelona is repackaging another deal. Then if we move on to that last sentence, Barcelona knows that Lautaro needs to publicly express his intentions to go to Barcelona. So like I said before, Martinez needs to ask to Inter Milan and let the public know that he wants to leave and only leave for FC Barcelona this summer. And in result, Inter Milan are going to let their guard down and they're going to soften the negotiations. They're going to say, okay, if you don't want to be with us anymore, we have guarded you, we have tried to protect you, but if you want to leave, then okay, we are going to renegotiate with Barcelona and find out something for you. Now, there has been rumors that Cavani could go to Inter Milan, but to Inter Milan, that is not enough. If you're going to compare Lautaro Martinez and Cavani, the one thing that Lautaro Martinez can bring that Cavani cannot do is the intensity and the defensive presence on the field. Lautaro Martinez provides all of that, and Inter Milan highly count on that. Not even Inter Milan, but Conte highly counts on Martinez Martinez's high work rate. And if Conte were to ask that to Cavani and do the exact same thing on what Lautaro Martinez brings to the table, Cavani would not be able to do that. So Inter Milan are in a very, very tough spot right now. And so many things do have to fall into place, and they need to fall in the correct place, because if one thing goes wrong, then this whole thing will fall apart and Lautaro Martinez will not come to FC Barcelona this summer. But that is where we are at right now with the Lautaro Martinez operation. That is the current update. Barcelona has not given up on this transfer yet. Right now they're repackaging a deal. They're going to offer something within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and as long as Lautaro Martinez does not say nothing to the public and say that he wants to leave to Barcelona this summer, that is only going to make it a lot harder for FC Barcelona to complete this deal. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Gustavo Maia. So we have the agent of Gustavo named Danilo Silva. He did have an interview with Radio Transamerica, and he said this: "We are sure that Barcelona will complete the purchase. There were already a signal from the club. Other clubs have come to us in recent months, but he has never had any doubts and he always wanted to go to Barcelona." And so I'm going to refresh everybody's minds on who this player is, because I know that there's new people watching every day. So Gustavo is a 19-year-old Brazilian center forward, and he's a very versatile type of player, and Barcelona have been following this player for over the past 2 years. But right now Barcelona have not decided yet if they do want to complete the transfer of Gustavo going to Barcelona. And just to give you guys a background story on how all of this started, so 3 months ago, around the beginning of March, Barcelona paid 1 million euros in order to have a purchase option for Gustavo Maia, and that purchase option is going to be valid until June 30th. And in order to complete this transfer and have this players be ours, Barcelona will need to pay 3.5 million euros to complete it. Now the question is, why haven't Barcelona paid the 3.5 million euros already? Like, what is holding Barcelona back? Now I do want to pull up a very interesting report that came from Mundo Deportivo from Miguel Rico. He said the first names on the Barca exit ramp, that is the title, and then it says here, Alenia, Todibo, Rafinha, and Weg are the ones who can leave before June 30th. The objective is 124 million euros in transfer income, and there is 70 million still to be made. Now, why am I bringing up this report? So when Barcelona made that investment of 1 million euros for Gustavo, that was around the beginning of March, which was pre-pandemic. And at that time, Barcelona said, okay, we're going to pay the 3.5 million maybe in about 2 months or 3 months, but we will pay that with no problem. And remember, this is pre-pandemic, and Barcelona did not know that they had to accumulate 124 million euros before June 30th. They never knew they were going to be in this situation. Now, in order for Barcelona to achieve that objective of 124 million, Barcelona will need to sell players in order to accumulate that cash. And once they do have that cash, then they can invest that money and use that for whatever they need, for maybe youth players, maybe players in the Premier League, EPL, the Italian League, wherever they want to use it. But right now, Barcelona only want to accumulate. Right now, they don't want to invest their money in any place or in any youngster or player. And look, I get it that 3.5 million euros is absolutely nothing to FC Barcelona, but we are in desperate times, especially in FC Barcelona, and when you are in desperate times, there will be desperate measures. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but ever since we did sign Martin Braithwaite and we did invest a little bit of cash for that transfer, Barcelona have not spent a single dime ever since that day. Like, they didn't care on how cheap a transfer was. They said, no, we're not going to spend our money anywhere. We need to accumulate as much cash as possible. We even had to cut down our own staff, cut down our scouts. We even had to ask our players to cut their wages in half. We can't spend our money nowhere. So before they can get these youngsters into the right spot, which is in FC Barcelona, they need to get themselves right first. And so before they can get players in, they must sell and bring players out first. And I believe that that is why Gustavo hasn't had the full agreement between Barcelona and Gustavo's club. Barcelona want to wait until the end of June and see, okay, where is Barcelona at the moment? Should we invest 3.5 million euros on this player? Now moving on to the next section of this video. So this section of the video, we are going to go through 3 different topics, and we are going to go through them very fast because all of these are just minor updates on what's been going on for each of these players. And we are first going to start with Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. So according to AS, they have had an interview with Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, and he said this: "It's not possible that I leave this summer. There have already been the first meetings between my agent and the club. I feel good in Barcelona and my family also feels good." So this is basically referencing that Marc-Andre Ter Stegen is close to completing a contract renewal. And look, I'm going to be very honest, when I read this, I got very excited because I do want to see our best goalkeeper renew his contract. He fully deserves it. We deserves it. Messi deserves it. We deserve a good goalkeeper in that goal, and Marc-Andre Ter Stegen knows that. And so all of the fans are waiting, and we know that Barcelona and the board want to get this deal done. And many of you guys might ask, why are these negotiations taking so long? Weren't they negotiating ever since 2019 around December or November? But what actually happened was that the negotiations did stop in the middle of March, because Ter Stegen did also say that throughout this pandemic window, he said that it was not the time to be negotiating about contracts through these difficult times, and that is why they stopped negotiations. But they will continue to negotiate once we all do come back, and most likely the negotiations will return when the league starts. So the negotiations haven't been going on for like 9 months. It's just that they went through a pause, which was around 3 months, and we should expect an announcement sometime this summer. Now moving on to the next topic, and we are going to talk about Eric Garcia. So according to ESPN from Moises Llorens, he said Barcelona have had an approach for Eric Garcia knocked by Manchester City. Various sources have told ESPN, but they remain keen on bringing him back. His name and situation was mentioned in the talks involving CANCELO and SEMEDO. So Eric Garcia is a 19-year-old Spaniard center back who does play for Manchester City, and on the market he is valued around 7 to 9 million euros, and he did enter the first team this season. And Eric Garcia was raised in Barcelona and went through the youth ranks, but unfortunately he did leave Barcelona and went to Manchester City and joined the under 18 squad, and ever since then he has made progress, and his contract with Manchester City does end in 2022. So even though Manchester City did say that we don't have Eric Garcia for sale to Barcelona, that doesn't matter because his contract does end in 2022, which is not long from now, and that is why Barcelona do want to keep tabs. This guy is a very young player. 2022 is only 2 years from now. He'll only be 21, and that is why Barcelona do want to keep tabs and continue to follow this player. And what's making Barcelona put so much pressure on this transfer? So basically, if there is one thing Barcelona do need to resolve, and especially resolve by next year, it will be the back line. And when I mean by back line, I mean the right center back position, which is where Piqué plays. Because right now, as we speak, we don't have a replacement for Piqué. We are okay on the left side, which is the left center back position with Lenglet or Umtiti. But as for the right center back, the only real player that we have right now that's considered safe is Piqué. And I know that Barcelona are finally being aware that after Piqué, they will literally have no one, which is why they do want to keep tabs on Eric Garcia. And so we will be following up on this player, because I believe that this will not be the last time we will hear about this player. Barcelona could continue to put pressure on this transfer throughout this whole summer. And now I quickly want to end it with Celta Vigo's player Rafinha. It says here, according to Mundo Deportivo, Celta Vigo would pay the 60 million option they have on Rafinha, but he is studying other offers. Several Italian clubs like Inter and English clubs are interested, but he likes the English Premier League. His departure could be made before June 30th. And I believe that this is very clear. Rafinha is going to be sold and used in order for Barcelona to accumulate those funds. It's almost inevitable. And I believe that it is also time for Rafinha to find his definitive club, because over the past 6 years, Rafinha has been juggled around Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Celta Vigo. And now with Rafinha being 27 years old, now entering the prime of his career, I think it's best for Rafinha to be settled at one club and be settled at either Celta Vigo or the EPL, whatever he desires. And in that way, he will show his true talent. And don't get me wrong, Rafinha is a great player. I do wish him the best, but I believe that Barcelona and the fans have moved on. And in this summer, we are officially going to see Barcelona and Rafinha go their separate ways. And that is it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.